to backtrack here for the recording is we went to NotebookLM in the search engine and we found that it is made by Google. So we logged in and then we clicked on add a new notebook. And so from here, this looks confusing. Their user interface is not super pretty, but it does allow for me to start adding some sources. And so these are essentially the pages in the book that I'm going to go ahead and add to. And so inside of the sources, I'm going to start thinking about what should go in my notebook. What do I want to put in my binder? And it'll allow you to do pretty much anything. You can link directly to websites, to YouTube pages. You can copy and paste text. If you've got something in your Google Drive that you hold on to as resources, like a slide deck, etc., you can absolutely upload those as well. And so in my case here, I'm just going to take a video, ideal gas laws. I'm going to take the link here. So I will copy the link. And then I can come back over and click on YouTube and paste the link. And so now we see the little check mark here and it says it has uploaded the video. Now what it's done is it's read the entire video, the transcript of the video, and it has put out just a simple explanation of what the video was about. And that's just one video. So maybe in my module, I have several videos. And so I can continue looking through these, anything that I think is good resources, or if I've already got them embedded into my course, I can continue adding resources there from my course. So in this case, I'm just going to add a couple more so that the arsenal or the notebook is bigger. So I'll copy that link again, and I'm going to go right back to adding another source. And I'm going to click on YouTube again. And so from here, I could also add text. So I'm going to next go to my e-textbook of my chemistry course. It's OER, it's hosted by OpenStax. So I could take the website URL and I could drop the website URL right into here. Now all it's reading is that introduction page. So it's not reading a whole lot here. It's basically reading that. But I could go to each individual section that was applicable. And so I will. I'll just go here to this particular page. And now everything in this page is going to be read again by NotebookLM. I'm going to add another source, website. And again, you could do this with any website. So if you're linking to something math, it will read the math formulas. If you're linking to something that is communications, it will read PDFs. It will read pretty much anything hosted on a website. I could, the downfall of it, or I think the downfall of it, is that I can't directly import a PowerPoint. So if I wanted to add, I could drag and drop my sources here, but it doesn't do as well reading my PowerPoints. So for example, now it tells me that you can't upload that type of file. So to get around that, all I would do is I would add the PowerPoint to my Google Drive and make it a Google slide deck, Google Slides, and then I could just link my Google Slides into my sources. So that's the only like extra step, if you will, because many of us do use PowerPoint being a Microsoft school. So just keep that into consideration. You just have to add it to your Google Drive and then link the copy from your Google Drive. So I've got a notebook. So now what? I've selected the resources that I want it to learn from and I want it to pull from within AI here. And so now I have some options here. Over here, you see that it will do many different things and it tries to prompt you for what it thinks you probably want this for. Now I could use this as a chat bot and start typing with it, like what are some good quiz questions for this? I could ask it, what should lesson outcomes be? And it's just going to read through and decide what my lesson outcomes could be. Now, obviously, this is not the direction I'd want to go. I'd want to have my outcomes first and then find materials later. But getting to the skinny version of it is it can make sense of just the stuff that you have imported. And so it is only importing or sorry, responding to your imports and information. It's not searching the web for anything. So that is the chat function. You can tutor yourself using that chatbot back and forth. A student could. So if you had your resources all in one spot and you showed them how to use this, if they don't already know it, they could interact with it and quiz themselves. But that's kind of the least exciting feature. That's not even really a fun feature of what NotebookLM does. Instead, what it'll do is it'll create a video. And so we're going to ask it to create a video, and it's going to do that in the background here for us. And then we'll take a look at what that looks like in just a moment. It'll also create a quiz, and this quiz, as it starts to build itself, it will generate questions that it thinks are pertinent based off of what the content is, to allow a student to kind of quiz themselves on the topics and materials and provide the answers as well. And again, it's not going out and searching the internet, so it's not going rogue. It's much, much less likely to hallucinate and make up answers because it is pulling them directly from the content that you fed it. It does create flashcards. And so these flashcards will come up again, just like the quiz questions, but instead what happens is you get the question on the front, you click the flashcard, it flips over and gives the answer on the other side. And you can share that link outwards of those flashcards. So you could actually import those into your course as a link, and then students can interact with that link, those flashcards. For those of you that like mind maps and you have concepts that are related, it will generate mind maps for you. The audio overview is the other one that's kind of cool here. So I'm going to try to get it doing all of these things at once, so that we can take a look at them together. So here's our gas laws quiz. And so to start, now this is generating just a quiz, and now I, as a user, could come in and read through this. According to ideal gas model, what two fundamental assumptions are made about particles of gas? And then I should know that they're in motion, they have kinetic energy, those things. So I would pick an answer. If I pick an answer and it wasn't the correct answer, it's going to give me some feedback automatically. And then it's going to tell me what the right answer is and why it's correct. And so this is giving that instant feedback that a lot of students want, especially in asynchronous courses. But it's not just saying, nope, you're wrong. Instead, it's saying, here's why you might have thought that, but here's the correct answer and the rationale behind it. And then you can continue on. And again, it's built 12 questions off of just our little tiny bit of content there that we uploaded. I'm going to shrink, whoops, that back down. It has created our flashcards. Same thing here. So what is the definition of an ideal gas? I click the flashcard, and now we have an answer. And so you see that it has built quite a few flashcards here. And it has done that automatically for us. And so I can continue going to read through here. And each time click on the flashcard to get the answer. So just another tool for your students to utilize, in addition to potentially you utilizing any of this as a way to assist students. This is all active engagement, because once the notebook is built, a student can't just passively read through content or zone out and choose not to read through the content. Instead, here they have to click, they have to take motion and take action on the pages. So these are active engagement strategies. I'm going to see here if our next one. So our video and our audio hasn't quite finished yet. The audio overview, once we get that to function for us, is really significant because that is an interactive podcast. And so what it does is essentially starts a radio show where two hosts start talking about the topic, whatever our topic would be. And then as you are listening to them discuss, you can interject and ask questions. Can multiple people develop or add a notebook? So you can share, so that you can share your notebook out and then determine who has access to it and what they can do. So they can open your notebook or they can edit your notebook. So open would be like view your notebook. So from there, and in that instance, yes, they do have the capacity to share as you would with any Google Doc or Google Forms or features like that. Um, and I haven't used it yet at Lake Sumter, but I have been using it for quite a while at another institution because I'm teaching graduate students. So they've granted me a lot of grace in figuring out how this works and how it doesn't work and how it has evolved in the past 6 months. Um, and so what we have done is really harness the power of the flashcards. Students actually make the notebooks, and so what they're deeming as worthy content, not just what is already uploaded into the modules as resources, which I'm I don't know how I feel about that because now I've lost control of the content that the AI is working from, but I do go through and review what they're adding to their notebooks. But so there's getting students involved in the action has been interesting, but again, it's those are graduate students, and so they've really helped me suss out what doesn't work. Feedback though is that they really have liked the quiz feature and they really like the flashcard feature, and then of course the audio feature here. So this one here is the audio feature, and we'll just go ahead and play it real quick.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So, have you ever noticed maybe on a hot day, your bike tires feel way harder than usual? Or, consider just how a giant hot air balloon actually gets off the ground.
Right. Well, if you have, you've basically already seen the core properties of gases at work: pressure, volume.
So I'm going to pause them right there as they're talking, and then I'm going to join the conversation and ask them some questions.
Temperature, and how much gas is actually in there.
We're swimming in an ocean of gas. Oh, hey, I think our listeners got something to say.
Hi there, I saw you have an equation listed. What does the V stand for in PV equals nRT? Oh, I don't think it heard my mic. Hi, I was wondering what the V stands for in PV equals nRT.
Hi. Not at all. We love the chime in. That is a fantastic question to ask right now.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. We were just about to introduce that equation, so great timing.
In the ideal gas law, PV equal an nRT dollar, the V stands for volume.
Volume, that's the amount of space the gas occupies, like the size of the balloon or the capacity of the can.
Exactly. And volume, along with the other variables, is what we're deep diving into today.
The other letters, P, N, and T, are also key properties of gases we're going to be talking about.
We'll explain how volume.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Can we do some practice equations and calculations?
Absolutely can. That is a fantastic request. We love putting the theory into action.
Okay, let's unpack this and get straight to some numbers. We had a couple of examples already in mind.
We can use the individual laws we're about to introduce.
So I'll stop the conversation there, but they are, again, only working with what I have fed it in terms of my notebook. So much less likely to hallucinate and just make up rogue stuff. They're going to pull directly from equations that they have seen in the what I've copied in there from the websites, and then also from the YouTube videos. So just much less likely to give crazy answers and much more likely to give students realistic answers. That feature has been around a while, but it has gotten exponentially better over the past year. It is still working on generating the video. What I like about the videos is it takes that idea of, they call it the deep dive, but that podcast style, very conversational, very organic, and it generates a short form video. So it does a slide deck with the voiceover, just like you just heard, but there are images that the student can look at that are reflective of what is being talked about and what the concepts are that are being talked about and discussed. Then all we have to do at that point is upload it to YouTube or whatever, and it's already going to be accessible. It's going to have closed captions, and then the slide deck itself is going to meet accessibility standards. They've built it so that it is WCAG 2.1 aligned. So it'll have nice big text sizes. The color contrast will be good. So it's super helpful and a great way if you've been teaching a course for a while and it's very text heavy and you want to add some video to it and you're like, yeah, well, I can go find stuff on YouTube. You can, absolutely. But then you can also generate your own using Notebook LM that is only based off of your specific material. So that is Notebook LM as it stands right now. And we are at 6:20, so I would like to pause and ask or answer any questions or leave this room for conversation and discussion that you might have and ideas that you might have, or if there's any other things that we want to try within Notebook LM and see what it can or can't do. Oh, good question. No, you can upload anything as long as you have a PDF version of it or you have any kind of website to it. Worst case scenario, so let's say I have an e-textbook that requires a single sign-on. It would not be able to read that, but I can copy the text, so I can highlight and copy the text and then input that into my notebook so I can add, and then I would just copy paste. So that's worst case scenario if my text is behind a sign-on of some kind. The other thing that I would say is that if you have a YouTube video and you attempt to add it and it comes up that it did not load, it could be because that YouTube video is private or unlisted. And so it may not want to learn from that particular YouTube video. So it'll just say no, or I couldn't upload or the upload failed. And so then all we have to do is just find something that is similar to it. Can I link this to Canvas? You can upload the um, link to your notebook to Canvas, just like you would share it with anybody else via email or what have you. So you can take that and say, here's the notebook for the week. Obviously, we do have to explicitly teach somebody how to use Notebook LM in the same capacity that we're taking 20 minutes here together to learn how to use Notebook LM. But what I have found is that once students have figured it out the first time, like they're all over it and they teach me things afterwards. Yeah, Chuck will absolutely upload this into our arsenal and our SharePoint and make sure that you all have access to this going forward. And I do want to reiterate, just like Dean Clark had mentioned earlier, 6 months ago we had no video option, and 6 months ago the flashcards weren't a thing that you could share. So this is something that Google has continued to invest in, and so it's only going to get better. But as this is what the product is as it stands now, which is much better than it was during the spring semester. So I'm excited what it looks like now towards the end of next spring semester. Any other questions or thoughts that how we could collectively be using this in our courses to increase that engagement?
Just I want to say that one of the students, what they said they were doing with the podcast that I made from my materials when I taught Bio 2 was on their phone when they're at work and they got time to get the earbuds and they're listening to the podcast. And it's, like I said, it's short, 20 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever the case may be, short little snippets. Yeah, I just love that feature. I think it's so cool.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
So you'll see, to Dean Clark's point here, it's a 13-minute and 37-second podcast. You can download that podcast and put it right into your Canvas course. And so then, to his point, you can provide the audio or they can build their own. And just like he said, students are much more apt to then listen to that during their drive, during their workout, et cetera, to reinforce, especially some of those academically rigorous courses or a lot of academic vocabulary. It does a nice job of breaking that down and digesting it for them. And again, they're picking up very organically as background noise even, but you're also welcome to upload that audio file directly into Canvas. I don't want to make anybody wait around just to wait around. So if there's no other thoughts or questions, then thank you for spending 25 minutes with us this evening. I do absolutely challenge you to go check it out and see what it looks like, especially the video file. It's pretty clean. It does advertise that very small, like Notebook LM, so that your students and you recognize that AI created the product. But other than that, the voices, the content looks very clean and looks like it's something that is ready to put in directly to your course as a recap, as an introduction, or just an additional piece where students get to see and hear content. So thanks for attending our very first Adjunct Academy, everybody.